On May 18, 2020, Claire Jeffers of Oakhurst will reach a milestone few of us will ever be lucky enough to see. She's turning 100 years old. Claire was born in Pierina Chiarella in Italy in 1920. Her family immigrated to the United States when she was a toddler. They resided in Jersey City until moving to Long Branch in 1948. Claire married and settled in Oakhurst in 1957 in the same home she lives in today. Claire worked at Fort Monmouth for 25 years in the Research and Development Department, retiring in 1980. She and her late husband, Navy veteran and Pearl Harbor survivor Ralph Jeffers, loved to sing and dance and belonged to several singing groups, including the Sweet Adeline's Chorus. Claire also sang in the choir at St. Star of the Sea Church in Long Branch and at St. Mary's Church in Deal. They loved to travel and saw much of the world together. They also attended the Pearl Harbor survivor reunions in Hawaii every 5 years. Claire is spirited, sharp, and feisty, and she loves to entertain family and friends with her joke sheet, a collection of puns, humorous stories, jokes, and one-liners that she enjoys collecting. From the Township of Ocean, we want to wish Claire Jeffers a happy 100th birthday.
This conference will now be recorded.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Here.
Council members Achara,
Here.
Conlon,
Here.
Fisher,
Here.
and Mayor Siciliano.
Here. At this time, everybody please rise where you are and for a moment to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, a moment of silence there. All right. Everybody can take their seats. All right. Notice requirement for the Open Public Meeting Act for this meeting has been satisfied. A copy of the annual notice was sent to the, excuse me. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they said there I was muted. Anyway, posted in Town Hall and filed in the office of the municipal clerk on December 30, 2019. So we're not going to have anything else as far as fire exits since it's a virtual meeting. Then you want to go over what we have as far as protocol for tonight's meeting format?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. So as you know, the mayor will preside over the meeting. The township clerk will serve as the moderator and will have the responsibility of recognizing all speakers. We ask that no one speak unless you are recognized by the moderator. If the attendees interrupt the proceedings, they will not only be muted by the moderator, they may be removed if they continue. At various times during this meeting, the public will have the opportunity to ask questions. Mayor Siciliano will let everyone know when that time has come. If you wish to speak, you must notify the moderator. This can be accomplished by utilizing the chat button, which is the third icon on the top right. Please note your name and address, and the moderator will recognize you. At that time, the speaker should unmute themselves and ask their questions. We ask that you ask one question at a time and wait for a response, and then proceed through whatever questions you have. Once completed, we ask you to just state that you have completed all your questions, and we can move on to the next person. Thank you, and let's continue with the meeting.
Okay, thank you for that, Vinny. And see tonight. We have, before I go any further, council members, do you have any reports that you want to enter into the record?
Nothing for me, Mayor.
Okay. John?
Nothing, Mayor.
All right. Marge?
Nothing to report.
Okay, great. And Dave?
No report tonight.
You said nothing, right? Rob?
That's nothing.
Yeah, I was first. Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, so tonight we have my agenda here. So the purpose of the public portion is to only ask questions and understand resolutions that appear on the agenda, not an occasion for a public hearing on an ordinance. All questions not related to an item on this agenda should be asked during the public comments portion at the conclusion of the meeting. So with that, we have on the consent agenda, we have the minutes from April 23rd, 2020 and April 30th. Would someone please offer?
No, Mayor, public comments first.
Oh, sorry. Anybody has any questions or anything about the consent agenda? Not ordinances, just the consent agenda. Now would be the time to say something. So anybody from the audience out there, tune into the clerk and he'll let us know.
Okay, everybody be patient and we'll see if anybody, again, if you have any questions on the consent agenda, please just go to the chat and identify yourself with your name and address. Somebody need. Here, I do not see anybody.
No?
No, not at this
Okay.
point.
All right. So we'll go right into taking a motion for somebody to please offer the minutes of April 23rd and April 30th.
I'll offer.
Second?
Second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitano,
Yes.
Council members Achara,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
Yes. Also, we have resolutions 2089 through 2095. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second?
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitano,
Yes.
Council members Achara,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
Yes. And for individual actions, we have vouchers tonight. Ben, I don't have them in front of me. Can you read the amount, please?
Sure, it's $10,249,048.36.
Great. Thank you. Someone please offer the voucher list.
I'll offer.
Second?
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitano,
Yes.
Council members Achara,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
Yes. And for individual action, excuse me, we have resolutions 2091, authorize the Department of Human Services to utilize telehealth counseling services. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second?
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitano, Deputy Mayor Napolitano,
Somebody's driving in the car with the sound on.
Yeah.
We need to mute all the audience, please.
just bear with me. I'll mute it.
Okay.
I want to say, I think I've been wrongfully accused of creating the interference.
We do
Okay. Thank you.
apologize. I think
We're waiting on the,
I
okay,
think we're
sorry.
okay. I'm
We're
sorry.
all right now?
Yeah,
all
I
right.
think we should be okay now. And so on that last vote, Deputy Mayor Napolitano,
Yes.
Council members Achara,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Mayor Siciliano.
Yes. And so resolutions 2092, authorize the tax collector to issue refunds to those taxpayers who have received favorable state tax appeal judgments. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second?
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani,
Yes.
Council members Achara,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
Yes. 2093, authorize the cancellation and refund of real estate taxes paid for a totally disabled veteran. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second, please.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani,
Yes.
Council members Achara,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, on resolution 2094, approve change order number 1, down to earth landscaping for the bollard installation at Joe Palea Park, increasing the contract amount by $3,555, bringing the total contract amount to $31,205. This, by the way, the funds come from a fund that we have built into the park that was collected from developer impact fees, so it's really no consequence to taxpayers. Just wanted to get that out there. Someone please offer.
I'll offer.
Second?
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani,
Yes.
Council members Achara,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, and also, Ben, I don't have it on my, maybe I have a revised schedule about, we're gonna make a amendment to our emergency proclamation to
Yes,
allow the
That's right.
summer rentals.
That's resolution 20090.
So 20090.
Yeah, I'm gonna be candid. I don't know that should have been in the consent agenda. It probably should have been separated.
Right. So with that one, just so everybody knows how that's going to work, that's our council recommendation. It has to go to OEM, for final approval. So that'll be put before, since it was an OEM proclamation, or rather an OEM emergency proclamation. Okay. Just wanted to get that one out there. Okay. Also tonight we have, for introduction, ordinances, right? We have 2338. Ben, would you read the title?
An ordinance amending ordinance 2306 entitled, an ordinance fixing salaries and compensation of certain offices, positions, and employees for the Township of Ocean.
Okay. Someone please introduce ordinance number 2338.
I'll introduce ordinance 2338.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Napolitani,
Yes.
Council members Achara,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, and that'll have its public hearing on our next meeting, June, what was it?
June 11th, Mayor.
The 11th?
Yes, correct.
Very good. June 11th, 2020. Next for introduction, ordinance 2339. Ben, read the title, please.
A bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements, appropriating $206,000 and authorizing the issuance of $195,700 bonds or notes to finance a portion of the cost.
Great. And someone please introduce ordinance 2339.
I'll introduce ordinance 2339.
Second?
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani,
Yes.
Council members Achara,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
Yes. Also for introduction, ordinance number 2340. Ben, would you read that title, please?
An ordinance providing for various capital improvements and the acquisition of various capital equipment, appropriating $2,555,370 and authorizing the issuance of $2,087,000 bonds or notes to finance a portion of the cost.
Great. Someone please introduce ordinance 2340.
I'll introduce ordinance 2340.
Second?
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani,
Yes.
Council Members Achara,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
and Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, and that ordinance too, along with 2339, will have its public hearing on June 11th. Before we open up to the public, I just want to make two more announcements. We've been making a lot of, in our moment of silent prayer, remembering people the last few weeks or the last month. We've taken quite a hit, but a little something positive tonight I'd like to share with everybody. We're celebrating the 100th birthday of a woman named Claire Jeffers. So congratulations, Claire. Happy birthday to you. And our editor and film man, Tom, is going to put something up here on our TV 77 and on our page so folks can remember her. It's a nice thing. Claire, I just want to mention, her husband was on the ship. He came into one of our meetings, Ralph Jeffers, a couple years ago when we were honoring veterans. He's a World War II veteran that served in the Navy in Port Harbor. He went in the Navy before the war started. He was in 1938. He started, but he was actually on a ship in Pearl Harbor while it was being bombed. I mean, amazing story. So if you go back and review when we were honoring the veterans, you'll see he was telling his story there as well. It's a fantastic story. So Claire, great going. Some positive news tonight. Claire Jeffers' 100th birthday. Congratulations to you on that. I want to mention that. And also, we have a proclamation for National Safe Boating Week. And that's of the week, May 16th through the 22nd. Something that people can do from a safe distance now and socially distancing. So we're glad to say that we are also having a proclamation declaring National Safe Boating Week, May 16th to the 22nd, 2020. Okay, with that, we're going to open up any public comments, anything germane to the township. Please state your name and address, and then we'll give you the mic.
Okay. Again, if you have any comments germane to the township, you're going to go to the chat button, type your name and address. I'll recognize you, and then you'll be able to ask your questions. So we'll give people a couple minutes.
Then how do you want people that dialed in to do it?
They can do it the same way. Okay, hold on. We have a question from Sylvia Chaffee.
You have the floor.
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. I was unable to get on. Apparently, when you were doing the pledge, everything just kind of froze up. So I would have probably spoken before, definitely spoken before your vote, but post-vote, I was unable to hear if 20090 had, what was the vote count on that?
The vote count, is that what you asked, Sylvia?
Yeah, what was the vote count on that? Was that
5-0.
okay? Thank you. You said that it would be going to OEM as a recommendation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. When does it go to OEM, and do you know how long it takes for approval? And lastly, is there a contact person or number or email address that you can share with me?
Sorry.
That's not my dog. So-
So OEM, we'll have a meeting tomorrow actually with OEM. It'll be presented to them tomorrow, and basically it's just a review and a signature. It's a recommendation from the council. We went over a lot of information. I saw your letter. Thank you very much. It was detailed, lengthy, but detailed and very good. And I don't disagree with you on many points there. But let me just clear a few things up for you if I may, and then you can ask up questions.
Sure.
On you're correct about the chart. You're reading it right, but you're not using the right metrics as far as using a true coordinate chart to see if we're flattening out our curve. And unfortunately, I don't have the benefit of being on camera. I would have shown you my chart, but we indeed are angling at a level of about a 70 to 80 degree angle now. versus when we started out at about a 30 degree. So that's what they mean by flattening out the curve. We started out about anywhere, I'd say 8 to 10 cases a day the first 2 weeks, and now we're down to averaging about 2. So that's what they mean. You're never going to like hit 0 unless we subtract our resolved cases, which my guess is half of what we have are resolved of our 270 cases, which is still far under most towns our size in the county. If you see the chart, you'll see that's true as well. So we're doing something right. Everybody here is working really hard, depriving themselves of a lot of conveniences to do that. And yeah, we're very mindful of our visitors coming in from out of town. I'll say this, wearing 2 different hats. I think you know the real estate hat for years. Most of the folks that come down here, half of them have dual residency. So they own a home here already, and you can't stop anyone. Both governors asked that you shelter in place. That really didn't happen, and it's hard to mandate that, as you saw. So folks came down, and I think most of them stayed in, and they did their 14-day quarantine. At least we'd like to think they did, because we really didn't have a big outbreak right after the high holy days, and a lot of the folks came down to open their second home. On the summer rental part, most of the folks that want a summer rental, I'm going to say another 50% of them are already here, and they're already in with family or friends, crammed in somewhere, so they want to get their own place to spread out. So the risk of bringing new people in there is really, that's cut down as well. And yes, there's still a percentage that will just come down for June 21st. We had the date set at, we were thinking, you know, we would review this May 15th, June 15th, and then make a determination. A lot of the folks wanted to come down early this year because school was out. I think you know that. And they're stuck up there in the infectious capital of the world with nothing to do. And actually, they want to get out for their own safety as well if they're not infected. So we understand that. So I think by the way things are going with our state, our governor's starting to open up things more and more. By the end of May, most of our state's going to be open, I predict, and probably certainly by mid-June. So for us to keep people back any longer, really not going to be doing any good and probably be in violation of any orders at that time. So we felt kind of safe saying, hey, June 21st gives us another month to really kind of get a handle on minimizing our infections here and flattening out our curve even more and getting a lot more resolved cases under our belt. That was a thought, if that helps you in any way.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the explanation. Some of my feelings on as far as the chart, and I did do every different metrics of the chart. They all still showed that increase that I had. Now, if you looked, my chart was only from April 1st through yesterday, because as you said, early on, we would have been at a much higher increase, but that's because early on, we went from having 0 tests to having actual tests. And so the more we test, obviously you're going to have big spikes in the beginning, and then look for the leveling out and the slowing down of the number of positives in each day span. And I'm seeing the numbers exactly the same. Periodically, you'd have one day where it was the same, and then you'd have other days where you'll have 5 additional positives. And I agree. I know that some of the neighboring towns may have more, but in my note, you probably also saw that we don't have numbers for any nursing homes, and nursing homes are accounting for 50% of positives and deaths. I looked at Monmouth County yesterday for nursing home deaths in Ocean Township, and there are 0, or nursing home positives. There are 0 for Ocean Township. So we need to look at towns that are similar to ours, but with similar residents. The other question I wanted to ask in response to your explanation, and I appreciate how difficult this is for everybody. I was wondering, where would we have gotten data that said 50% of the people who are planning on renting are already here? And again, I wasn't talking about homeowners here. I was talking about renters. I know that there are a number of folks that have a primary home out of state and a secondary home here. And so, of course, that's their house. That's
Right.
but I'm talking about visiting renters that are short-term, and as that realtor's letter said to you, they're coming from a quarantine state and are just looking for a change of scenery. And I understand they have that petition that they're poised to launch, but I'm concerned about what we're learning now, that perfectly healthy children are having this really deadly impact. Maybe they believe it is related to COVID-19. And before that was not the case, I think we were all kind of had a sense of security that at the very least our children were going to be okay. And I'm not just worried about our children, I'm worried about all of the children that are going to come into exposure as the weather gets better. And how do you keep little kids from running around and hugging each other?
Yeah, right. That's the problem.
So anyway, I guess the question was, where did we get the data that says
Okay,
that
so
50% of them are ready?
Great. Let me answer that. Before I answer that, let me just enlighten you on as far as how the chart works, because some days you'll see a spike of 5 or 6 cases. And if you're getting the same information I'm getting daily, at the very bottom of the county list, there's 39 cases, 50 cases unattached, where they didn't know where they came from. Ocean has 5 zip codes. So sometimes you don't get them all attributed to the right address that day. And then 3 days later, they'll say, well, these 4 cases belong to Ocean Township, not Long Branch, not Deal, not Allenhurst. So they could have been really spread out over a 4 or 5 day period, but we'll get those numbers in one day. And that's why you're seeing that, Sylvia. Typically, you're seeing a 1 to 2, maybe a 3 case a day here the last 2 weeks, according to my chart. But once in a while, you're right, you'll see that spike, and that's why you'll see that. Secondly, where we're getting this data from, it's just my local knowledge. Again, it's being in the business a long time, hearing from some people. So, no, I don't have anything in writing that says these folks are all living here, but a lot of them are. So.
Okay, well, thank you for your time. Would there be some way that somebody can give me the contact information for OEM? Is that our local OEM or is that state?
No, that's our local. I mean, we could forward your email to him if you like.
Well, actually, I'd just like to contact him myself.
Sure.
I think I am a member of the OEM here, or I was.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, now we have a new OEM director now.
If maybe Vinny or Mike, if you wouldn't mind passing on who the OEM's contact information, that would be very much appreciated.
I'll just let you know now. Mr. Tom Rue is now our new OEM director.
Okay. Do we have a email address for him?
I can get it to you.
Everybody. Everybody's emails are first initial, their last name at ocean.com.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Be safe, everybody.
You too.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Next, Mayor, we have Ellie Shalom.
Yes, you have the floor.
Hey, good evening. I have just a couple of questions this time around relating to the rental restrictions and the recommendation that's going to OEM. So just in terms of the mechanics of how that recommendation is going to work, if they do accept that and sign that, is there any sense at this point of, in terms of lifting the restrictions, the restrictions are not just about the renting, the restrictions are also about certificates of occupancy and obtaining those. Is the idea that homeowners would only first be able to start applying for their certificates of occupancy on June 21st, or would that be lifted earlier in anticipation of people moving in on June 21st?
Once the emergency proclamation signed, revising it at June 21st, which will probably be in the next couple of days, you can apply for your CO.
Understood. And then would leases need to be amended? I know I have and a few other people that I've spoken to have leases that are that have start dates written in there of as early as early May. would those leases need to be amended, re-signed, redrafted to reflect the movement of June 21st, or is it enough just to have the people only moving in June 21st or later?
I personally would amend anything that's not factual.
Understood.
So in
I
other
mean,
words, if not starting on May 1st, it could be consequences to the landlord down the road if you don't cover yourself. I would start the leases on the day they're going to start.
right. Okay, understood. And then my only other question is just, this is not really related
I'm
to.
sorry, hello, 1 second. Really, the determination as to what to put in the lease should be left to you and your attorney, and not really up to the council as to what the lease should provide, okay?
Yeah, I understand. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't some sort of council directive that leases would need to be rewritten, re-signed. But yeah, totally understood. And then my
That's
third question.
that's my recommendation.
I'm sorry, what was that?
No, that's just my personal recommendation.
Oh yeah, of
I would
course. And then my third question is a more general question about the CO process in general, the current emergency low contact CO process. My understanding, and I'd reached out to the housing department about this. My understanding is that it still requires an in-person signing in person in front of a notary, a couple of forms. And I believe that in the state of New Jersey, New York, and a couple other states, virtual notarization is now allowed. And finding notaries to get to in person who are comfortable, sitting around with people outside of their households is actually become kind of a challenge. I mean, I'm a notary myself. I obviously can't notarize my own documents. I don't relish the idea of notarizing anyone else's right now. Is there any thought being given to allowing virtual notarization just to help people sort of keep their distance?
I guess we can discuss that with code enforcement and housing department. And that's where that came from. But it's something we have to discuss with them, see how comfortable they feel with that.
Right. Okay, understood. That's all I wanted to know. That's it for me. Thank you. I'll go on mute.
Thank you.
Next, Mayor, we have Jacob Cohen.
Jacob?
Yeah, hi, how you doing? How's everyone?
Super.
So, I know I was on the last Zoom meeting that we had, and I know that it was discussed that many townships were allowing a lot of the summer rentals earlier, and I know Ocean Township wanted to play it safe with, COVID-19 and everything going on. The reason for this later date, is it as far as safety and keeping COVID-19 and less numbers happening? What's the main reason for that later date?
Well, like I explained earlier to the woman that was called before you, we've given a lot of thought, a lot of data, a lot of personal knowledge of how people come to Ocean Township, when, how many, et cetera, and knowing that most come from New York, which is the infection capital of the world, unfortunately, right now. So we're trying to minimize our impact. And really was the only thought. The more distance we put between the influx of people coming in, because the biggest part is not so much the folks coming in may be fine, but it's this contact tracing that they can't get a handle on. And you don't know, someone can be actually a spreader without having any symptoms themselves, being asymptomatic and being actually healthy. So we just feel as time goes on, it gives us a better chance to reduce our numbers that we have now, get more people healthy that were infected, and then, basically hope for the best thereafter.
Right. No,
so we made a compromise. We were shooting for July 1st. We brought it up to Father's Day, June 21st, which is the first day of summer. And before this, most leases used to start that day for summer rental anyway. Not all of them, but a lot of them did. They're either between Memorial Day and that date, and most of them were when school got out. So we're going by that.
Right. So I guess my main question is, I know you're allowing annual rentals, and it's again, what's the difference between an annual and a summer? A seasonal, it's still people in a house and still people. That person's not going to be different than the other person who's going to go to a restaurant or somewhere. It's still people coming. It's
Typically,
Mr. Cohn?
yes, people have to
Mr. Cohn?
mute their phones,
Wait,
folks.
hold
There can't be too much ambient noise.
We're going to ask everybody that's not speaking to please mute their phone.
Chris, what I would say, one of the main differences between summer rentals and year-round rentals is when the governor issued the executive order and the superintendent of the state troopers, whatever his title is, issued his order, it specifically referenced summer rentals, that shore communities could restrict summer rentals. It did not allow for any restriction on year-round rentals. So that was the basis for limiting to summer rentals.
I know. So I think a lot of people on this meeting is just, we're all curious to why you think like Deal and Allenhurst and West Long Branch, and why are they all taking the steps to allow it, and why Ocean Township is not?
I can't speak for the other towns. I really can't. And like I said, this is what we've decided to do. Every town has their own governing body, and they decide to do what they think's best for their town. And that's all I can say. This is what we're doing, and that's it.
A lot of those surrounding towns did prohibit short-term rentals. I'm not sure if any of them have changed, but many of the towns prohibited short-term rentals.
So, I mean, again, I just feel like if, again, COVID-19 could be around, we might have this for the next 4 or 5 years. I mean, this may not go away. Again, we're all hoping that there'll be a vaccine, and who knows what'll happen. But I guess my main thing is, again, if it's a safety issue, can't we do something where we are allowing rent, we're allowing seasonal, we're allowing annual, but we're creating a safety measure so everyone can, get it, because there's a lot of people that own these summer homes and these homes for rental purposes. So, I'm just, how do we make it work with a safety measure in place, and maybe everyone's happy,
Yeah, this is what we've decided upon. So hopefully that's going to work. I see that you have a difference of opinion, and I appreciate that. But this is what we're deciding on doing, and we're going to hope that this works out best for our community.
And there's no way to keep everybody happy.
That's for sure. But, again, we have people that have invested in these homes, and they, again, we have to pay our taxes. And, if you said to us, maybe, hey, these seasonals or these annuals, hey, we're not going to allow this, maybe we're going to give you a tax grievance or some type of a break, then, it just helps people now that have these expenses that purchase these homes for that purpose. So I understand we can't make everyone happy, but it can't be that you pay your taxes and you can't, it's like it has to go both ways, not one way only,
But I think most of these homes have a winter rental in them. They can, if I was them, I'd maybe try to work something out and keep that tenant there another month so you're not losing too much income. And then go into your summer rental, June 21st. Like I said, my 33 years of real estate experience, most summer rentals would have started that, and it wasn't a hardship in the past.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying to you, again, as you know, with the winter rentals, that's not the time frame that it works as of today. I don't know what it was back then.
They ask them to move out sometime May or the end of May. Look, you got another month. Maybe you can keep them for another month. But some would probably stay. But again, it's not an easy decision, but this is what we've decided to do for Ocean Township.
So one question, if this goes on for a longer period of time, is this something that maybe we could work on maybe as far as safety measures going forward, maybe next year? This might go on for a year, 2, 4, who knows?
Yeah, we'll definitely have to review it if it continues. Absolutely, it's going to be reviewed. Everything, not just rentals, but everything, the way we do things in town will absolutely be reviewed.
So just one last question. I know you have it right now for the 21st. The 21st is a Sunday, I believe? Yeah. Is it possible to maybe, and again, I know you have a set date, but maybe to consider possibly maybe just doing a Friday so people can, there's a lot of people now that come in, from other states and other places, and they come in Friday and they can't really do that Sunday move. It would help for the Father's Day so they could be settled,
Yeah, we've considered every which way, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Monday. We just, originally I had it July 1st, which was a Wednesday, but that really was the best day. So to me, the two dates are either July 1st, Wednesday, or Sunday, the June 21st.
Right. All right. No, just, again, if they're settled, it's a better Father's Day for everyone, I think. But I hear you. I appreciate your time. And that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you.
Mayor, our next speaker is Scott Sharp.
Hello.
You have the floor. Hello.
Okay. I have a question in one of the bill or your statement tonight about the some of the funding that you were authorizing or bringing up. Can you update me on when you anticipate starting the process for a Ocean Township master plan? So I saw the $80,000+ that was being identified for it.
Yes. Mike, are you on this call?
Yes, he is.
Can you hear me?
We'll defer to Mr. Masillo.
Go ahead,
Can
Mike.
you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
We're appropriating the money tonight, and we plan on doing it late summer, early fall, getting the process started. We're authorizing to go out to bid for it tonight also.
Is there a process that the planning board is going to identify which will ensure public participation, citizen participation in the process from the beginning to the end, whether it's going to be some sort of a steering committee, whatever, but has the council considered that as before you jump into this and we don't see the results of this until the very end?
Well, that's the discussions that the council have had previously when we've been talking about this, is they absolutely want to be inclusive with everything involved.
And how will
The planning, it's generally, Scott, it's generally the planning board that is the one who's reviewing the master plan and updating the master plan. And there are public notice requirements. Each and every amendment to the master plan that's taken place over the last 30 years or whatever many years have always been on notice to the public.
Marty, that doesn't really answer my question. My question had to do with, is the council or the planning board going to have an active role for citizen participation in the process, not just the hearings where we only get the results? I'm looking for active citizen participation.
And what I'm saying is that will be up to the planning board, because they are the ones who deal with any changes, amendments of the master plan. So I think it's a fair question. I think you can ask the planning board when they have a meeting, you know, this is coming up and we want public notice and we'd like some additional participation, more so than, you know, you believe there's been in the past.
I guess my question is, does the council have an opinion?
Yeah, Scott, if you have any recommendations, we would have a public meeting in advance of doing any work on the master plan. I have no problem doing that, having a meeting, and getting some input from the public on what they think how they would envision a new master plan, or what some of the thoughts or ideas are. And then we can make those recommendations to the planning board and see if they can fit them in.
I guess, Chris, you indicated just a single meeting is all you would entertain for citizen participation.
Well, I would say for input first. In other words, hey, mayor and council, we have ideas, and if we had a room of 40 or 50 people, which I think we probably have, and it lasted several hours and you gave us a lot of input, then it can go on to planning board where they would also have public meetings.
There is a process within the county planning board documentation that says they even have a citizen or a steering committee for the master plan. There are more than just one process meeting at the beginning. That's my recommendation, is that, and I will certainly bring this up to the planning board, but too often citizens get the opportunity with these little brief snippets of information, and we don't know the outcome of that until the very end. So I will bring it up to them, but it would be nice to see the council have more of a view of transparency with a continuous citizen participation in the planning of this document. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank
Scott,
you.
you more-
Scott, you
Hey, can I-
will discuss it. Hey, Rob.
No, that's fine. I'll stop.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely take that under advisement, and we'll discuss it amongst the council. Not a bad idea. Anybody else, Ben?
Yes, Alan Salam, Mayor.
Alan?
Hey,
how are
Mayor.
you?
How you doing?
Real well, thank you.
Okay, it's good to hear. I guess I'd like to start off by first of all thanking you guys. I think I think it maybe goes, I don't know if it goes unnoticed, but I understand probably how hard it must have been to come up with decisions around some of these tough, these sort of tough, we want to keep everyone safe. We want to keep everyone happy. We also know that, so I first of all appreciate and commend all the hard work during these tough times, because it's definitely can't be fun steering this ship right now. So thank you for that. From that, I'd like maybe ask one or two questions. The first is actually now about this. What is the master plan? Do you mind my asking? Apologies, I just didn't know what that was.
Sure.
Very simply
Marty?
stated, the master plan is a document that's created by the planning board. And it's basically an overall view of the township, or, we have a master plan. It's been amended every 10 years. There have been hearings every 10 years, and they generally goes into various different areas of the town. The people who create the master plan, who come up with ideas, think there should be changes to zoning or whatever, and they give recommendations related to zoning changes, many different aspects, drainage, whatever, that impact the town. So it's an overall review of all the zoning ordinances and other issues related to development in the town. And it's done, I just want to say, it's done by the planning board. It's a planning board document. They review it, they have the hearing, and they make a determination as to whether or not to adopt certain changes to what is now in existence as the master plan.
Got it. Super helpful. And then so the next question was related to the summer rentals. So first is, again, I think you did, because I know there's people who got on the phone. Mrs. Sylvia, I missed the last name, but I know that there are a lot of people who maybe.
It's the same as the first name.
Yeah, Sylvia. I think there's a lot of people who maybe see this from a different side, and it's actually interesting to also hear that perspective. But I just want to let you know that I think myself and many others think you did the right thing by opening it up and allowing people, giving them certainty. I think that was most important, is giving people certainty, so at least they could plan around their summer rentals. Because again, my biggest fear is the people who can't afford and have and want to live here. And I've been doing a lot of thinking about some of the stuff we all talked about over the last couple of weeks. And the part that got me was that I think most people who live here rented here beforehand. And I really didn't want to be leaving the wrong taste in those people's mouth either, because again, I care about my home value. I care about my neighbors. So I thank you for that. The only thing I'd ask is I do think it was interesting. I hadn't thought of it. This idea of having started on a Friday versus a Sunday. And again, I understand it might be set in stone. I just wanted to sort of put my support for that maybe that isn't a nice thing to do, where now they could come for the Father's Day versus, I know my dad on Father's Day, my dad on moving day is not the dad I want to be around on Father's Day. So I empathize with that sort of request. So I just thought I'd say I support it. But thanks again.
Good, thank you. We appreciate your comments. Anybody else, Ben?
Yep, Murray Batesh.
Murray.
Hi, how you doing?
Floor.
Good, how's everything? Again, I wanted to thank you guys for everything that you guys do. I support everything that you guys do. I voted for all you. I'm proud of you guys. I love you all. I just wanted to put my 1 cent in, just to try to make a little bit of a compromise, just like the last caller did, and just push it up a few days earlier. This way, those people can get in for the weekend, like he said, and I just think it would quiet down a lot of people. It would make a lot of people a lot more happy, and it's a fair compromise just to move it a few days earlier. I was thinking a week earlier, but okay, with he's saying Thursday or Friday or whatever. You have to remember, it's a dangerous thing to start putting it out there that all New Yorkers now have coronavirus, or all when it's really just a small percentage of the population, and even smaller percent of that are really getting that sick and really bad. Unfortunately, people like not everybody wants to rent their house. We don't want to, but we're forced to. It's because we can't afford to live where we're living. I'm a year-round resident. I live here at 500 Roselle all year round, and it's because we can't afford, for certain reasons, that we do put ourselves out there and we do rent our house. So I asked the committee if they could move.
I think we lost you.
You may have lost him.
I think we lost
Move
you
it
there,
up
Murray,
like a week or so. I would really appreciate it. It would make all the difference in the world. Instead of going to other towns, this is the last town. Oh, sorry. Right now, this is the last town that people are coming to look at because of the late date. And it's making it a lot harder for us, people that are struggling, that are year-round tenants. A lot of people just moved to the town, and they're here because they moved out of Brooklyn because they can't afford it. And unfortunately, they have to rent their houses to help them pay their bills. It's not about, I'm not talking about investors. I'm talking about residents, voters, people that live here. And, it really would help a lot, if you guys moved it up like a week or so, because people aren't looking to live in Ocean this summer because of the late date. And it's putting a strain on year-round residents where they can't afford to take the drop in price because of that late date. The mayor also put up that a point that they move in usually the 20th, 21st. Many leases start Memorial Day. So I could dispute that fact that you made before, with all due respect, of course, that June 20th is the average time when people come in. It's a dangerous precedent also I don't want to create a phobia that people from New York now, or the Jews from New York, or the people from New York, or whatever it is, now all have coronavirus. Don't go near them. People are responsible. They're not coming here if they are infected with the infections. People should be responsible. Thank God New Jersey vamped up its testing to 20,000 tests per day. There's no reason people can't go and get their tests done beforehand.
Murray, I don't mean to cut you short, but we do have a 5-minute limit on commentary.
If my 5 minutes was up, it's up. I didn't look at the time. I didn't know it's up.
It's okay. No problem.
Thank you.
Hey,
Enjoy.
Thank you for your comments. I do appreciate it. I just want to clear two things up for everybody else. Here's the thing, folks. I know this June 21st, Father's Day, is messing with everybody's head. It's just a date. Move in Monday. Enjoy Father's Day with your family, and then come Monday. Secondly, let me say this, Murray, I'm going to dispute you and appreciate if you don't go there with that narrative of Jews from New York. I never said how tall, short, heavy, fat, what size people were, how old or young. I'm just mentioning that from the data we're getting from Fox News and any other channel, that the hotbed of the world is New York. There's no disputing that. The numbers are on the news daily. So we're only spouting what we're hearing. I'm not saying every person from New York has the virus. At one point, they thought 1 out of 3 tested did. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a guy trying to protect a town of 27,000 people and keeping our impact at a minimum. And I think the other council members are with me on that 100%. And so we feel this is a decent date to not, hurt everybody, but give us all another chance to kind of catch our breath a little more. So we're sticking with that date. If the 21st is inconvenient, make it the 22nd. Enjoy Father's Day.
I just wanted to be on record, though, that it is the latest date in all of the surrounding areas of Monmouth County or New Jersey. It's like, I sent you guys the link. We're one of the latest dates in all of New Jersey. But I'm done. I'll
Understood.
put myself on mute.
Thank you. Ben, anybody else?
We have Dennis Howlett.
Dennis, you have
Yes,
the floor.
Dennis Howlett. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Dennis Howlett, Holbrook Street. I want to follow up on my previous inquiries about the number of homes, number of properties, excuse me, in Ocean Township that were deemed eligible by Ocean to be considered for Blue Acres buyout.
Okay.
And
You wanted to know
still
the
trying to
number of
follow up
homes
on
that
that.
probably?
I've actually been in contact with DEP. We've talked on the phone. They've sent me a tremendous amount of information. And I understand that
Okay.
7 properties on Brookside have been bought out and they've been demolished, and looks like they did a great job with that. Apparently, there are at least 2 or 3 other homes that are still technically eligible to be bought out because of the funding from the government. But in the last conversation that you and I had, Mayor, I believe you mentioned something about a whale pond. And it wasn't clear to me then whether you were talking about Whale Pond Brook or people who lived on Whale Pond near Poplar Brook. So I'd like to clear up that confusion and still try and find out how many properties in Ocean Township were deemed eligible by Ocean Township to be eligible for the Blue Acres buyout.
Well, the only ones eligible were the ones that Blue Acres deemed eligible, and that's the ones on Brookside. We proposed the Whale Pond Brook to them, and Blue Acres was okay with the homes along Whale Pond Brook, not Whale Pond Road, Whale Pond Brook. So
Okay.
which would be Westlake and even along Branch and that, down in there, Brook Street, those homes along there, mostly way in the back Branch, ones, the higher numbers on the bend. But folks weren't receptive to it. We didn't have enough in a row or in a cluster for Blue Acres to move forward with it. So the only ones really Blue Acres finally approved was Brookside.
Right, I realize what they finally approved, but was the town saying that everyone on Brookside Avenue was eligible?
Oh, almost every home was eligible on Brookside, yes.
Yes. And
Going
that had
up
to do
to the
partly
bend.
with, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, no, yeah, almost every home there, because you have Snails Lake on one side, and then you have the brook on the other side. So when one flooded, the whole road got flooded. So yes, most of those homes on Brookside up to the 460 addresses were eligible.
Right, and the town sent like that list of about 25 properties to DEP to consider? Is that what it was?
Yep, sent them to them. We had meetings in town hall with all property owners, the ones who were interested. Most folks came, actually almost, I'm going to say 90% of the people that live there, own homes, came to the meeting to hear how it would work and what the buyouts would be and all that. And was the result of it. We took advantage of it.
And to be eligible for the DEP had their own requirements, I believe. And it had to do with both chronic flooding and the number of times that any individual property had been reimbursed by flood insurance up to a certain amount, something over $1,000. Is that correct information?
They had an empirical criteria. I don't remember at the time, Dennis. We've been distracted the last few months with something else, but we can look into this for you later.
I'm sorry, what? Sorry, say that again? The last
I
part?
didn't say anything. No, I said we can look into it further for you if you want all the hard numbers. We're trying to open the town up.
I appreciate that, and I think you're doing a great job. It's just that I've been at this for a while, and I seem to be running into dead ends. So I don't know if I'm just not doing this correctly, trying to find out if I need to submit an Oprah request or whatever. I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, I think you can make an appointment with Mr. Masillo and come in. He'd be glad to sit with you and give you all the data he has on it. You don't need to do Oprah. Right, Mike?
Absolutely. I'm here all next week, every day, if you want to come in.
Okay, well,
You will
can
sit,
we come in
with
now?
you, but you have to be 6 feet apart.
At least.
Yeah, I advise you make an appointment, though, because we'll be in a lot of meetings this week coming up and next week.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have right now.
Thank you, Dan.
How do I get a voice in this meeting, gentlemen?
All you need to do is text me your name. The next, Mayor, we have Peter. We have Peter Junction.
Okay, I guess I'm up. Peter Young at 610 Deal Road. Hello to everyone, the mayor and the council. I really appreciate all the efforts that you make on all our township. You know, there's a lot going on. Last month, we talked a little bit about the budget. I believe the budget was passed. I was just wanting to follow up and see, you know, whether you have seen any kind of impact on revenues. We see a lot in the news that many, you know, states and governing bodies are afraid about revenues coming in. Have you sort of seen any data like that?
Well, here's the thing. We shut down a lot of our fee-based
If you
areas. So
keep
yes, of course,
disallowing
it's
people to
impacted.
rent their houses, there won't be any revenue to be had.
Please don't interrupt.
I don't know.
Otherwise,
I don't know who's
disqualified.
yelling from the back of the church. We don't do that here at the meeting. We have decorum here. You have to state your name and address and wait your turn. So Peter, yes, revenue's been a concern of ours. We've lost revenue. And it's just, I think we're not alone. And, you know, we do plan for that, however. I think if you look at our budget, and it's a very conservative budget, we underestimate our income and overestimate our expenses annually, build a little surplus for a rainy day like this.
Okay, so that was my first question. My second question was, I heard Marty talking about the master plan being looked at again. Is there like a timeline? I think I heard last month you were trying to onboard another planner. Has that sort of been established?
Mike, I think they're working on it, but I know all timelines have been pushed back, of course, due to the pandemic that we're dealing with first. But yeah, I think 2021 was the timeline to have a new master plan in place. So working on it, I think, right, Mike? Is that the date that you have?
Correct. Correct. We're appropriating the money tonight for it, and you'll have the public hearing. I guess it's the 11th of June for the money and the bond ordinance for that. We're looking to get started like late summer, early fall, and we're actually going out for a proposal today. We're authorizing it for work on the master plan.
And just to clarify, it's to basically have any and all amendments to the master plan is what is being determined.
New energy plan.
Is there a short list of firms you're going out to?
Yeah, it's opened up for whoever wants to respond to it.
Do we have some new firms bidding on that?
We're just authorizing it today. We haven't gone out yet.
Okay. And I'm not sure I understand Marty's comment. It's limited in some way, or is it comprehensive?
Well, we have a master plan. But right, go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, no, it's comprehensive, but basically what's happened in the past and what typically happens is there are various areas within the town that are reviewed, and they become, to the extent there's changes going on, they become amendments to the master plan. That's what the re-examination does. It amends the master plan. It doesn't change. You know, we have areas in town that are fully developed. There's not, you know, probably going to be changes to those areas, but there are other areas that still have vacant land, whatever. There may be different issues that are decided, and the master plan gets amended. That's what happens every 10 years.
Right, so some of that is housekeeping. I understand that, to kind of capture what has happened over the last 10 years. But is there anything in the RFP that you're preparing that says, you know, looking to the future, COVID has really changed everything, you know, distancing, density, et cetera? Is that somehow being captured in your RFP?
Anybody?
Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't drafted it yet. I'm getting the authorization for it tonight. I'm gonna start working on it next week.
Okay, that was my question.
Thank you, Peter. Anybody else, Greg?
Here we have Celeste Michon.
Hello, Celeste. You have the floor.
Hi, I'm just getting my microphone. Hi, how are you? First, I want to say thank you so much for everyone. We're living in unprecedented times. I mean, I'm 46. I've never, ever in my life had any pandemic that I had to live through. So this is very challenging for you guys running a town and for all of us residents. I'm a homeowner. I live, I'm supposed to say where I live, right?
Yes.
Okay, I live at 405 Avenue for the last 12 years. And I really enjoy living in the town with my husband, Michael, and my children. My question is, when we come to deal in the summer, a lot of the times we look forward to just getting together with our family. My parents live in the town and some cousins. Is there going to be an actual number that is recommended that we all should stick with as a guideline, what's acceptable and what's allowed, without any police coming by and saying, what are you doing? You have too many people here. For a gathering of a family kind of, gathering, do we have a number that's acceptable for the town?
We follow the state guidelines. Really, basically, whatever the governor. Yeah, we just follow their guidelines when it comes to the amount of social gatherings and such.
Do we have any numbers right now?
Well, right now it's still at 10, I believe, right, Marty?
So my husband and I and my children, we'd be 7 people. So I'd be able to have 3 more people. Is that what we're talking about? Or 10 additional people, or is it just 10 total people?
I think it's 10 total people, the current guidelines.
Okay,
that's set by the state.
Okay, no, I just want to be clear because I wouldn't want to assume a number and then, something happens where it's way off. The number is not what I was imagining.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Marty.
I'd like to thank Margie Donlin for holding up 10 fingers to let us know the number is 10.
I appreciate that because I had no idea what the number was. So, we are coming to New Jersey and we're excited for the summer, and I just wanted to know. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
No, not to my knowledge, Mayor.
Okay. I just want to close with, we are going to plan our Memorial Day services Monday. But much like the previous caller said, we're going to be limited ourselves to just a gathering of 10. So we're going to put something out there. We're going to have a representative from VFW, Jewish War Vets, Catholic War Vets, the council members, our film editor will be a distance away, so he won't be in the count. Our police color guard will be invited, and they'll be 50 to 70 feet away, so they won't be in the count. We will have our fella playing taps, Christopher McBride, and also our singer. Hopefully we get Alexandra again to do the national anthem and God Bless America. And that'll be filmed and shared on YouTube to honor and remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. So we'll post that as it comes closer. With that, someone make a motion to close to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
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 Oops, sorry.
Deputy Mayor Napolitani.
Yes.
Council members Achara.
Yes.
Donlin.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
And Mayor Siciliano.
Yes, meeting adjourned. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Great meeting. And you can watch us on YouTube if you want to recap the meeting. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
Take care.
Good night. Be safe.
Good night.
21st.